Now then guys, for this review for Dennis Rodman being in WCW, this is going to be more of like a broad sort of just like whole spectrum about his whole time in WCW, where he appeared on WCW television in 95, 97 and 98. Basically how the whole storyline and reason why he came into WCW was he was good friends with Hulk Hogan, where he appeared with him at the WCW Bash at the Beach 95 show, where this was where he wrestled against Vader in the main event, which they also incorporated the match and the results and stuff into an episode of Baywatch, which also included a lot of WCW stars in mid-ish 96, which was quite funny considering how by the time this episode aired, Vader was already in the World Wrestling Federation. But then in 97 and into 98 as well, Dennis Rodman had a few matches where they were mostly in tag matches with Hulk Hogan, so it was able to hide his weaknesses and stuff, and it was quite cool as well that he is the first celebrity to be in the NWO, considering how at the time only wrestlers could be in the NWO, and it was really, really cool to see Dennis Rodman, who at the time was the biggest star in basketball, along with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, for example, during the whole amazing repeat again of their Bulls run and stuff. I just thought it was really cool to have Dennis Rodman in it, where then in 98 he kind of skipped out on a practice event to go to WCW Nitro, and he was seen on TV interacting with all the other wrestlers and stuff and being part of the NWO again and stuff, because even though it was during the 98 season he was still playing it, it just shows us how good of a player that Dennis Rodman was, that even though he might have skipped out on a night of practicing or that sort of thing in the Bulls, that he was still able to put on an amazing show and put on a great state of play to then help the Bulls win that match, and then obviously go on in the end of 98 to win the championship again, which was the last time that those players got to play with each other, because then at the end of 98, Michael Jordan retired again, Scottie Pippen left, Dennis Rodman left, Steve Kerr left, and so many of that amazing dynasty of what made the Bulls so good all disbanded and left, where even on the amazing documentary The Last Dance, where they talk about Dennis Rodman going to WCW and they talk about the end of that dynasty, just how interesting it would have been if they were all given another year, which obviously people like Dennis Rodman would have done it, Scottie Pippen would have done it, Michael Jordan would have done it, Steve Kerr and Courage and all the other players, part of that team would have been like, yeah, we'll do it. It was just really, really interesting to kind of just see that whole dynamic of them being like what could have been, and they would have happily stayed on as well. And I just, it was just a cool thing to see in that. And also as well, it just shows off that amazing and eccentric character that Dennis Rodman has, to be able to work so well in the professional wrestling landscape. I mean, for one, the man has that amazing size so he can fit in with the giants, but also as well, he has that amazing look, that amazing presence of his, that even though when he was involved in a few matches and when he was involved in the NWO and on WCW TV, he worked and he fitted so well in the world of professional wrestling that he didn't seem out of place. Where I feel, for me, other celebrities who appeared on WCW, to me, it doesn't really feel like they fit or they really belong there. But with Dennis Rodman, I do, because he is amazing. He is great. He is that larger-than-life character. And it's just really, really cool to see him show the respect to the professional wrestling world that he has. And the fact that he has done a few matches as well, too, just shows how much he loves it, that he would even put his body on the line, even though he was earning millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars through the Chicago Bulls, the NBA, and any other endorsements that he had. And even though he was already by this point a several-time world champion, and then obviously winning it a few times over with the Chicago Bulls as well, that it became one of those things that he knew the risks of what would happen in the ring. He knew the risks of if he got injured, and he knew the risks of how much money he might potentially lose. But in a sense, he was like, I don't care. I love the wrestling industry. I want to put in my respect and love towards it, just how much it's shown me and just how much I love wrestling in general too, that he's able to go on and have some great matches where he tagged along with Hogan against Lex Luger and the Giant on a Nitro. I mean, when he had his match against DDP and Karl Malone, he made it seem like there was a proper feud in the NBA when they were playing through their playoffs and their matches against each other, sort of like to help promote the match and stuff. And it just shows just how clever of a man he is, that he's able to incorporate both worlds to kind of like sell each other, because in the late 90s, wrestling as well as basketball was at its zenith. I mean, this was at the time when Michael Jordan and the Bulls were like at the top of their game and stuff. And also as well, you also had the wrestling world being at its zenith. You had the WWF like, you know, hitting it out of the park with all their like, you know, starting to go on to their like highest rated and highest popular shows of all time, besides the Rock and Roll Connection and the Hulkamania era. Also, you had WCW building up to their biggest show of all time, Starrcade 97, and then obviously the next year with Goldberg building up and stuff as well too. It was just a perfect time for both of those worlds to meld together. And I've always liked Dennis Rodman as well. I've always liked playing as him. I always liked him as well. He had the amazing colourful hair. He had that amazing look, the amazing style to him as well that always stood out. As much as I'm a Michael Jordan fan, as much as I think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, I will always be a Dennis Rodman fan. I remember when Dennis Rodman as well went into the British Celebrity Big Brother. I especially watched that show just to see him because I was such a big fan of him, and I loved him as a Bulls player. And it was just really, really cool as well to watch the documentary of The Last Dance. And obviously it mentions obviously about Dennis Rodman playing for the Pistons and beating Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls team. But then several years later, when he came to then join the Bulls, it was quite cool to hear him talk about the different dynamics that he had, where he was from being against the Bulls to now joining the Bulls. And I thought that was really interesting. And also as well, it's just the fact of him being in WCW and him sort of like knowing by being in WCW, and also the fact as well that he was able to have that feud, like I mentioned earlier, with Karl Malone, that he knew that with the rising popularity and just the rising stardom of the NWO, I mean, the fact that for over that past year, the NWO has been the most talked about and famous faction in all of professional wrestling. Where, I mean, the fact that they were able to turn Hulk Hogan, who to a lot of fans was seen as unturnable, was pretty damn impressive. And the fact he was like, all right then, Hulk, I want to be part of this amazing storyline. Make me into part of the NWO. You know, I'm the first celebrity to be in it. I'm Dennis fucking Rodman. I'm the best, and this sort of stuff as well. I just thought it worked really, really well together too. And I just think for me, for all the other celebrities that have appeared in wrestling, like Floyd Mayweather or Bad Bunny or Logan Paul, and the former ones like Lawrence Taylor, Steve McMichael, Mr. T, David Arquette, Steve-O, and etc. I think for me, Dennis Rodman will always be iconic, will always be a special, special member in the world of professional wrestling. Dennis Rodman will always be an all-time member of the NWO and the wrestling world, where he wrestled for WCW, someone that will always be remembered as a member of the NWO, as the first celebrity member of the NWO. And that is why Dennis Rodman is truly iconic. And that, my friends, was my Wrestling of the Month on Dennis Rodman in WCW. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what your thoughts are about his run in WCW. How do you think it compares to other celebrities in the world of professional wrestling? Or do you prefer other celebrities instead? You know, like Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, or Floyd Mayweather, to name a few. I'd love to hear you guys think. And also as well, guys, please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to Know Your Wrestling on all the different social medias, podcasting networks, and YouTube too. This has been Know Your Wrestling, guys. I have been your amazing host, as always, Mark Sylvester. And don't forget, guys, to take care. And always remember, Dennis fucking Rodman!